For the Detroit Lions, the last 2 years, their offense has been absolutely one of the best in the NFL. But going into 2024, it seems that they could be setting the pace for the rest of the NFL. And we're going to talk about it in this episode, folks. So stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are? And what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lion.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, all Detroit Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. So, here's the thing, folks. I gotta tell you, I'm really excited to make this episode. This is an episode that, I'll be quite honest, when I was thinking about it, sitting down, putting everything together, I could not wait to have the actual opportunity to make this episode, because for me, it's one thing when, you talk about news, you talk about certain events or whatever, but when you actually get the chance to really create something, to really come up with something brand new, to come up with something that's completely unique, that has never been done before, that is what makes podcasting really exciting. And for me, I believe that's something that I've done today, and that's what we're going to talk about for today. Now, what exactly am I talking about? Here's what I'm talking about. When it comes to offense, there are few teams currently in the NFL who do it better or with more style than that of the Detroit Lions. Let's just call it for what it is. The Lions have a very powerful, very unique, very dynamic offense, and our offense is one of the best. And when you have Ben Johnson as the offensive coordinator, you have Jared Goff as the quarterback that are, guiding the ship, that are making sure everything runs and is operating on all cylinders, you are going to have an offense like that it is explosive, that it is dangerous. And when you think about how much of a quantifying factor our offense has been for the last 2 years in those two categories, it's absolutely just mind-blowing. But I truly believe that the Lions offense in 2024 is going to go into a whole different level. I believe that it's going to reach a whole new height. I believe that the Lions offense is going to do something that is just unheard of. But we'll talk about that more in a little bit. Why are we talking about the offense here specifically? The reason why we're talking about the offense is because not too long ago, I released a video where I talked about nicknames or a certain type of name that you could apply to the Detroit Lions defense. This had been a concept that had been floated around for quite a long time about the defense, and a lot of people had thought, hey, we should come up with something for that. Well, the funny part is for as much as people wanted to come up with something for that, I wanted to come up with something for the Lions offense. Now, I understand. The Lions technically already have a nickname for their offense. It's called the Goffense. But as much of a golf fan as I am, I don't think that is an appropriate name. I don't think that actually truly embodies, gives the entire appropriate picture of what the Lions offense is. So I started thinking, I'm like, okay, how can we come up with a name? How can we come up with an ideology? How can we come up with an identity that truly fits what the Lions offense is all about? What actually fits? Well, for that, we have to start with what we know about the Lions offense. The Lions offense, at its base core principle, is a West Coast offense. West Coast offenses, they've been around for a hot minute. They've been around since about the 70s. They got really popular in the 1980s, and they've pretty much been the standard ever since then. But when you take a look at the Lions offense right now, it's a West Coast offense, but it's not a traditional West Coast offense. And what I mean by that is that when you take a look at it, West Coast offense, at least back in the early days when it first got started out, the basic premise of the West Coast offense was to use the short passing game kind of as an extension of the running game. Well, Dan Campbell does do that with his offense, and so does Ben Johnson. But the thing that Dan Campbell does that adds a very unique flavor, a very unique aspect to the offense, is he likes to employ a very heavy run concept that uses a lot of zone scheming. So, let's understand something. The Lions offense, yes, it is a West Coast offense. It is a pro-style offense. But the offense is unique in how it is ran and how it has been organized. Think about it. First and foremost, like I just said, the Lions West Coast offense, it employs a lot of running in it as its own, part of the offense rather than having the short passing game being an extension of it. Then you think about how the offense was made. Think about the fact that Jared Goff and Ben Johnson created this offense together, that it's a partnership, that these guys co-parented the offense into being. This is a very unique offense, and its uniqueness is something that I wanted to talk about here in this episode. Now, as you guys all noticed, probably by now in the thumbnail image, the title says, "Hey, get a rhythm." Now, if there's one thing other than football that I love to death, it's music. Music is another passion of mine. I love to sing music. I love to listen to music. Music is something that I can just get lost in. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. One of the aspects that is unique about the Lions offense is it not only its explosive capability, but it's also its ability to be balanced. Its ability to have good, perfect harmonization. Its ability to demonstrate this time and time again. This is why I believe the concept that I've come up with, the nickname, if you will, I have come up with the Detroit Lions offense, is a perfect nickname. It's a perfect identity. I think the Lions offense should be called the Rhythm and Blues offense, or the R&B offense for short. Here's the reason why. First, let's consider the history of the Detroit Lions because, well, let's consider Detroit in the city that it represents. That means that in Detroit, you obviously have the automotive industry. The automotive industry is the biggest factor about the city of Detroit. You have the big three with Ford, Dodge, and also GM. But what also is big to the city of Detroit? It's music. And when you're talking about music in Detroit, you're talking about Motown Records. Motown got its start officially in 1959. But what made Motown especially, unique and really helped it take off was that it used a lot of different genres of music to come up with a unique sound. And one of those genres of music that it employed very heavily was rhythm and blues. It would also use other genres like jazz, soul, funk, gospel, and a couple of others. But let's just call it for what it is. Regardless of the genre of music that, Motown would have used, each one had a harmony, it had a flow to it that would make the music popular, that had the music be the type that it was. Well, think about this, folks. When you think about music in the terms that I'm talking about, flow, harmony, anticipation, you can use those exact same terms, you can use that exact same principle with how the Lions offense operates in the first part of the rhythm and blues offense, which is the rhythm part. And here's the reason why. We know the Lions offense is a West Coast offense. It's a pro-style offense. I literally just said that. Well, what makes a West Coast offense exceedingly, well? What makes it run with good efficiency? Its ability to execute plays. And in order to do that, it relies on timing. You go back and you watch some old tapes. You go back and you watch some, how do I talk about it? When Bill Walsh would explain how the offense for the 49ers was to be ran, he would literally say, hey, when Joe gets the ball, he's going to take a 3-step drop. As soon as his foot hits the third drop, that ball's coming out and it's going towards Jerry Rice. Oh, as soon as he hits that hitch step on that 5th drop, he is going to be throwing the ball over the middle to Dwight Clark. Everything was based upon timing. Everything was done over and over and over again to make sure that there was precise execution, so that way the timing was perfect, so that way you'd have successful plays and you could have a perfect execution of the West Coast offense. Well, think about it in terms of music. Again, I'm going to go back and forth between this concept here so that way you guys can understand why I'm using the phrase that I'm using. Music in general, much like offense, is the exact same way in football. But think about this. When you think about rhythm and blues music, especially the rhythm part of it, it's especially important because the rhythm is what sets the beat of the music. Without the rhythm, you're not going to have a beat. Without a beat, you really don't have any music. You just got a whole bunch of, discoherent notes out there. Well, think about it. Having that beat in music is the same kind of concept with having timing in an offense. Because the entire rhythm, the entire timing, the entire harmony of the offense and the music to kind of put both of them together is based upon that success. And in order to have that success is what allows you to maintain perfect timing, whether it's in how you deliver the notes in music or how you draw up plays and you execute plays in an NFL offense. Now, what is this called? Well, in music, it's called having a feel for the music. In football, it's called anticipation. Part of having rhythm or part of having good timing is having what I like to call that feel or that anticipation, knowing what's coming next, having an understanding or a clue as to what is about to happen. Well, when you're talking about football, how this is done is by finding the right balance in offensive play calling. Because think of each play as a musical note here, shall we? Every note that is put out, whether it be a run play or a pass play, you're trying to find a perfect balance. If you have too many run plays, it's going to offset the balance. You have too many pass plays, it'll do the exact same thing. You're trying to find a perfect balance so that way you can get the right composition, so that way you can make the offense or the music work. It's the same thing with said music. If you have too many of certain types of notes, it's going to throw off the entire composition and you're going to have a lousy piece of music. That's why I'm saying, with the rhythm aspect of the Lions rhythm and blues offense, this ability to have perfect timing, this ability to have anticipation, to have balance, to have all these aspects that I'm talking about, it's all there. And when you're talking about it also in the terms of music, which also connects to Detroit through Motown Records. Again, I am putting all this together because there's a lot of this stuff that really works together in my mind. Now, how does the Lions offense actually personify this? How does this concept actually fit within Ben Johnson and Jared Goff's offense? This ability to have timing, rhythm, anticipation, balance, whatever. Well, think about it in terms of stats here. The best way I can put this is in terms of balance. In 2022, the Lions were 5th in overall scoring on offense. They were 11th in rushing, and they were 6th in passing. My whole point there is this. You have an offense that's pretty damn well balanced and it has the ability to score at a very high level. That's what happens when you have a good offense. So, that's 2022, right? Well, you move to 2023. In 2023, the Lions maintained their scoring, prowess at 5th. But they moved up from 11th in rushing to 5th in rushing and from 6th in passing to 2nd in passing in 2023. The best way I can describe this in terms of music, think about 2022 being like a gold record, and then in 2023, you go out and you make a platinum record. It's kind of like when Michael Jackson was with the Jackson 5 was in 2022, and when he went to being the solo Michael Jackson and releasing Thriller was when he got to 2023. That's kind of the best way I can describe this. That's kind of what the Lions did when it came to finding that balance, finding that ability to be in perfect harmony, to find the timing that they need with their offense, to have what I'm talking about here. So, not only though, to kind of move into the next point here with the rhythm aspect of the RBO offense, is that in order to have that balance that I'm talking about, or that continuity for both run and pass, there's also got to be what I like to call innovation. It has to be creative. Because let's call this another way. Everybody knows that right now, for the most part, the NFL runs the West Coast offense almost everywhere. Everybody runs the West Coast offense. There's nobody really running any sort of like weird offensive schemes anywhere. It's pretty much everyone has their own variation of the West Coast. Well, think about this, folks. I know there's other people that watch my channel. They listen to music. They listen to country, rap, whatever the case might be. I don't care. Well, think about it. If you have multiple artists that are pushing out the exact same music and they keep pushing it out with the same notes, the same style, the same keys, the same lyrics, it gets old really damn fast. It loses its excitement. It loses its uniqueness. Well, this is how, again, talking about the Lions offense in the regards to music, when you have an artist that decides to push the boundaries, get creative, try and tweak things a little bit, you have guys like Michael Jackson, you have guys like Elvis Presley, you have guys that do stuff that is completely different than what has ever been done before, and it gives a whole new composition. The same thing is true with offense. You take a look at what Ben Johnson has done with the Lions offense. All he has done really is added a couple of characteristics and a couple of tweaks based upon what he likes and what Jared Goff likes, and this offense has damn near taken almost everybody's attention around the NFL. There is a reason why Ben Johnson is the most highly sought after assistant coach or coordinator in the NFL to become a head coach. It's because of the fact that Ben Johnson is ever innovative. He is creative with how he runs the offense. And when you have a coach like, Dan Campbell, who also is aggressive, that again gives Ben Johnson more chances to be creative. It allows him to have more opportunities to show that innovative play design. I'm just simply trying to say this. Having that balance and that timing, if you also have the ability to be creative and innovative, that's what makes the Lions rhythm and blues offense that I'm talking about be as prolific as it is. And we've seen Ben Johnson do this before. I mean, for crying out loud, how many damn trick plays has Ben Johnson drawn up? The Penei Sewell catch out of the backfield. We saw the one where freaking Frank Ragnow snapped the ball through Jared Goff's legs to David Montgomery. We've seen different end-around plays. We've seen a lot of different trick plays and innovative plays in Ben Johnson's offense. So again, this definitely fits with what the Lions offense does. Now, next we come off of the rhythm aspect of the rhythm and blues offense, and now we come to the blues aspect of RBO offense. Sorry, the RNB offense, pardon me. This concept is a lot more straightforward than the rhythm aspect, because rhythm, I have to explain how timing, harmony, all this stuff all fits in with what the Lions offense does. The blues aspect, for crying out loud, this one's pretty damn straightforward. Come on now. The Lions' primary color is Honolulu blue. Rhythm and blues. Do I really have to explain how damn, straightforward that is? It meshes, it matches exactly with what the Lions are as a team as far as the specified color. Don't really have to go much further than that. But there's more to the blues aspect than just the color concept. Again, think about the Motown records that goes with Detroit. Think about it, folks. The blues as a musical genre had long been around since Motown records. They have a long established history. Well, think about this in terms of football. And think about the Lions offense. What do the Lions love to do a lot? They love to run the ball. Well, like blues music had been around for a long time before it became popular in Motown, the running the ball aspect had been around for a long time before Dan Campbell kind of brought it back into the NFL as it being a very usable means of offensive attack. Again, the offenses of the NFL over the last couple of years have all been about throwing the ball as much as damn possible. Dan Campbell was like, how about we kind of go the opposite of that route and we go bully ball? How about we try and run it down your throat? How about we get physical and we get tough in the trenches? So what Dan Campbell did is just simply say, hey, this is what used to be done so many years ago, let's re-bring it back in. Kind of how blues music, how it had been around for so long, but it hadn't really gained any popularity, or it had gained no popularity until it went to Motown records. As soon as it came to Motown, it goes off on a freaking tangent. Well, think about this, folks. What is blues music? Blues music is music that has powerful messages that are usually backed with either somber or melancholic tones. Pretty much either they're powerful tones or they're kind of deep, foreboding, or they're kind of depressing. Well, think about this in terms of the Lions offense, folks. The Lions offense is an offense that opposing defenses 9 times out of 10 do not want to face. It causes them to just be depressed to play us because our offense is one that you have to prepare for and you have to over-prepare for, or otherwise you are going to get spanked out of the damn building. It is a very depressing, it is a very hard task for opposing defense to try and match with our offense. That's where the blues aspect comes in because of the, what's the word I'm looking for here? Because of the mindset, because of the attitude, because of the emotional aspect that our offense brings to opposing defenses. The offense for us doesn't bring us any blues. It brings us plenty of joys as Lion fans. But if you're an opposing fan, if you're an opposing defense, oh yeah, you are not happy to see our offense because chances are you're going to get taken to the woodshed. That's why I'm saying the Blues aspect of the offense, it kind of fits into everything that our offense is. We like to run the ball. We like to be powerful, impose our will. We have an offense that can do that very well, not only through running the ball like what Dan Campbell likes to do, but also through throwing the ball like Goff and Ben Johnson like to do. That imposes Blues. That imposes the depressing aspect on opposing defenses. And again, like I said, our primary color is blue, dare I say it. The whole point is that whether you're talking about the rhythms aspect or whether you're talking about the Blues aspect, it fits perfectly with the concept of our offense. And then to kind of mesh this whole thing out, to end everything, consider this. Since 2022, the Lions have the 5th most passing yards, the 7th most rushing yards, the 3rd most points scored, 8th most passing touchdowns, 2nd most rushing touchdowns, 4th most points per game, and are tied 2nd for most touchdowns scored. As a collective unit, I'm just going to say this. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a unit that's that much better than what we can do. And for opposing defenses to see that kind of a freaking laundry list of accomplishments of what we've done, oh yeah, that's going to put them in a real bad, somber, depressing mood because it's like, damn, we got to go against that? That's our assignment? That's what we got to try and stop? No, thank you. So, again, when you consider everything that I've talked about in this offensive episode about talking about the Lions being a rhythm and blues offense or the R&B offense, I fully and highly expect that the Lions offense in 2024 is going to go to new heights for a couple of reasons. The first reason is, well, number one, Ben Johnson is coming back. A lot of the players that are on this offense have been together now for going on 3 years. In fact, realistically, most of them have been at it for 2 or 3, or sometimes some of them are actually getting set to go into their 4th year. But think about this. There's only 2 guys on this offense that are brand new that weren't there last year. And that's Kevin Zeitler and whoever is going to be, the replacement really for, Josh Reynolds. We don't really know who that is yet. But other than that, everybody else is coming back that were starters last year. But then think about this as well. Last year we had an offense that was absolutely explosive. It was damn near hard impossible to stop. And that was with guys like Gibbs, Laporta, Monty. Think about it. All 3 of those guys I just mentioned, they were in their 1st year together. And Gibbs and Laporta were rookies. All 3 of those guys are going to be better than what they were last year because they have the continuity with them now going forward. Gibbs and Laporta are going to be better because now they're no longer rookies. They have a full year of freaking experience under their belt. They're coming into their 2nd training camp. That's going to also pay huge, huge dividends. My whole point, to wrap this all up, the continuity, the familiarity, all of this that I'm talking about, when you are putting it all back with the freaking rhythm and blues offense that I'm referring to for the Lions, I'm telling you, we are getting set for something that is really, really foreboding. And dare I say, kind of like the Johnny Cash song that kind of resembles the title for the thumbnail, hey, get a rhythm. I'm telling you, it's coming. Get a rhythm, folks, because we are going to see a lot of teams get their butts handed to them. But anyway, folks, I just decided I wanted to talk about this episode. I really am excited about this episode because, again, we made one about the defense. I had to make one about the offense. And dare I say, I'm really excited because it really fits. But we'll see if it sticks. We'll see if it catches on. Having said all that, I'm going to end the episode and say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these 3 things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and not had a chance to do so, again, highly encourage y'all to do that. But I also encourage y'all, please, to make sure you hit that bell notification icon at the bottom of the page as well, so that way you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Also encourage y'all to share the content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. The more we can share it, the greater the channel grows, the greater the channel spreads, which means we can get more people in. And with that being said, to everybody, I hope y'all enjoyed the content. I hope y'all got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless everyone. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.